Welcome to Mission Gathering Charlotte. This community is for you. If you grew up in the church and have lost your faith, if you are in a moment of deconstruction or reconstruction, if scandals, politics, and hate have led you into doubt, if the stories of this faith raise doubts and curiosity in you, our time together is not about trying to fix you. You are not broken. Our journey in this life is not about erasing doubt, but embracing them. For it is only on the darkest night we can see the stars. Life's journey is hard enough, so we don't think you should have to make this journey alone. So if you are Asian, Latinx, Black or White, Indigenous, if you are male or female, trans or non-binary, if you are 3 days old, 30 years old, or 103 years old, if you've never stepped foot in a church, or if you are Buddhist, Roman Catholic, agnostic, or are a lifelong evangelical, if you are single, married, divorced, separated, or partnered, if you are straight, gay, lesbian, asexual, or bisexual, if you are a Republican, Democrat, Independent, Socialist, or not registered to vote, if you have or had addictions, phobias, abortions, or a criminal record, if you own your home, rent, live with your parents, or are homeless, if you are fully abled, disabled, or a person of differing abilities, you are welcome to join us on this journey to share our sacred meal at the table of grace. Happy Sunday, and welcome one and all.
No conditions, you are loved. We cannot say enough. You completely belong. No, we cannot say it enough. You are safe to be who you are. No, we cannot say it enough. So come to the table, there is a place for you. Come to the table. Come to the table, just as you are. No exceptions, welcome home. We cannot say it enough. You're not on this road alone. No, we cannot say it enough. Nothing to prove, you can let down your guard. We cannot say it enough. So come to the table, there is a place for you. Come to the table. Come to the table, just as you are. Come to the table, there is a place for you. Come to the table, there is a place for you. Come to the table, just as you are. Just as you are. Just as you are. There's no fear, no fear in love. There's no fear, no fear in love. You are safe to be who you are. Nothing to prove, you can let down your guard. And come to the table, there is a place for you. Come to the table. Come to the table, just as you are. And come to the table, there is a place for you. Come to the table, there is a place for you. Come to the table, just as you are. Just as you are. Just as you are. Just as you are. just as you are.
See, this is our time of giving, and I get it. The NPR wants your money, PBS wants your money, and none of our money seems to be going as far as it could. But if you could give a gift that would help us, we've just recently replaced our AC and heating system so that our sanctuary can continue to operate in a way that keeps people cool and keeps people warm on the days where those are appropriate. Because it's a safe space. This is a place where activists, where community leaders, where artists, where people doing work to keep kids out of jail, with so many different things going on here, it's important that we maintain and create a space here in the middle of our city, Charlotte, North Carolina, where all can come, where it's open to be used by everyone for the purposes of love with justice. So for your gifts, I want to say thank you. And maybe you can't give today. We've started passing the baskets again, which is a big deal for those of us that go to church in person. But we've created these little paper coins, right? And on these paper coins, it says, I gave via Venmo, Cash App, I gave online. But it also says something else. It says, I gave my presence. So if you're someone who joins us online on a regular basis, maybe you can't give any donations today. But I know what you can give. You can give your presence. You can share this video. You can put a comment down underneath it, letting us know that you've watched, letting us know that you're a part of this mission gathering family that we're creating from coast to coast. And maybe that's the gift that we really need right now, is for you to tell others about what's going on here. So for all of the gifts that we have been given and for your presence in this moment, we give thanks to God. In the name of Jesus the Christ, amen. So this is the fourth Sunday of Lent. And one of the biggest things I think that we mess up in our modern day celebrations of Lent is that we don't party on our feast days. Like every Sunday of Lent is supposed to be a party, a time when we get together with our community and we celebrate. If you've spent any time with Mission Gathering Charlotte, if you spent any time with the Mission Gatherings on the West Coast, you know that we are a group of people who love Jesus, but we also love to throw a good party. I missed parties so much over the last 2 years. Did you miss them? I mean, the drive-by party thing, that was heartfelt and meaningful, making the best out of a bad situation, but man, it was kind of a letdown. I mean, a good party is supposed to be a life-giving moment where you can share a drink, a meal, or just some space with friends and loved ones or new acquaintances and get to know them and get to share your life. Today's parable is all about a party. I mean, yeah, it's about a man who had 2 sons, but at its heart, it's a part of a triplet of stories where someone loses something precious to them, and then when it's found again, they throw a party. And where does Jesus choose to tell these stories? Well, you guessed it, he tells them at a party. And, at this party were some of Jesus's friends. They were the respectable types. The type of person, the person that's a little bit too uptight, like they won't use someone's Netflix login because they feel like that's stealing. These dudes were like that uptight. But also the party had some riffraff. Some salt of the earth people, the barflies, the sex workers, the taxmen, all of the people who've been left out of proper society back in that day. So these uptight folks, they start to grumble. And maybe they're doing the grumbling where they grumble a little bit too loud just so Jesus can hear them. And they ask themselves, how could Jesus be associated with those type of people? Man, those words can cut. I've been in the groups where it's being called out as those type of people before. Maybe you have too. But rather than being a party pooper, Jesus tells the first story. It's the one about the shepherd who leaves the 99 sheep behind in order to go find the one sheep that he'd lost. And when he finds it, he brings the sheep back and he invites everyone in his town to come and have a party. Then Jesus tells the second story, which is about a woman who loses 1 coin out of 10. And so she lights extra lamps And she sweeps her whole house until she finds that coin. And when she does, she breaks out the boxed wine and the good chips, and she invites the whole community to come and party with her. And then there's this story about a man who had 2 sons. You know this story. It's the one where the younger son says, "Give me my money," and he runs off and he ends up half starved in a land where he is a stranger. So then he decides to come back and work as a day laborer for his dad. But his dad has never let go of him, and his dad sees him off in the distance and goes running out to greet him, running down the road. And he runs to him, and he won't hear anything about this day laborer nonsense. And then he gives his son all the items that mark him out as his son, that tell the world, "This is my son." And then what does he do? He throws a party for the whole village. That should be the end of the story, right? Well, not really, because remember, the man had 2 sons. The other son who'd stayed with his dad was out working in the fields, and he acts kind of dumb. He's like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on," even though he could hear the party, he could smell the food. He has a servant tell him what's up. He still won't go in. The dad comes out to ask his son to come to the party, and the son answers with this, in verse 29. He answered his father, "Look, I've served you all these years, and I've never disobeyed your instruction. Yet you've never given me as much as a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours returned, after gobbling up your estate on prostitutes, you slaughtered a fattened calf for him." Does this kind of sound like Jesus is uptight, friends? Oldest brother is deep in his feelings of betrayal, his feelings of being left behind, his feelings of jealousy and hurt. He feels unseen. But the story doesn't end there. His father responds by saying, verse 31, "Then his father said, 'Son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive. He was lost and he is found.'" So what's the point of this story about a father who had 2 sons? Well, like I said last week, parables are hard, and they're meant to be hard because they're supposed to break you out of your traditional way of seeing things. And this parable is even harder because we've heard it so much that seeing it with new eyes and hearing it with new ears can be really hard. But I think the way that it spoke to me this week is that Jesus's point that he's getting to here, or at least part of what he's getting at, is that life is a party. It is a gift, pure and simple. The reason that I think that is because some of the strange words in the Greek that the author chooses to use don't make sense unless that's what it's about. You see, the Greek words for property are oikia, hyparkonta, and ketima. Yeah, I know, my Greek's flawless. But the author doesn't use any of those words for property. In verse 12, the word translated as property is ousia. Ousia is a philosophical word. It means being or substance. It's that deepness of what something is, who someone is. So the son basically says to his father, "Give me the piece of your being that will belong to me. Give me the piece of your soul, of your personhood that will belong to me. I'm going to take it and squander it." The second time the word property gets translated in verse 12, right? It's the word bios. You know that one. It's biology, right? That's where that comes from. It's the Greek word for life. So the father doesn't just divide up material goods between his 2 sons. The father divides his life between the 2 sons. The next time we see a word translated as property is in verse 30. And the son tells his father, "But when this son of yours came back, who has devoured your life with sex workers, you threw a party for him." See, parties and life are prominent subjects in this parable. And that leads me to the conclusion that life is a party. Now, I know that's not the whole point of this story. And that you've probably seen other people preach about other aspects of what you can take away from this. But life is a party. And the youngest son shows that he can party it up as he squanders all of the life that his dad has given him. It is reckless and leaves him empty and starved in the end. But that's the wrong kind of partying. But even though it's the wrong kind of partying, it's like way closer to the kind of party Jesus wants to throw than the older brother was living. The youngest son, he tries to do it all on his own. He goes out there and tries to make his way through the world all on his own, living it up by himself, disconnected from the source of his life. And he fails miserably. He makes misery for himself and for others. He causes so much pain. But failing that hard, failing that deeply is what makes him able to return. It makes it possible for him to return to the source of his life. The older brother, though, was never cut off from that source. Never left, never was separated. Ate meals with, sat with, worked with, listened to, was around his source of life. But he's put up so many barriers, so many stopgaps and measures to keep him from ever being able to be present to that source of life. He works hard and he toils to prove himself better than the brother that left, to prove himself just as good as dad. He works so hard to the point that he never stops to be fully present for the party. And the result is he's left bitter and burnout and spent, angry at anyone he doesn't think worked as hard as he did, even though all that he has doesn't come from him. It comes from the source. Mission Gathering and friends, we're trying during these 40 days of Lent to walk the way of Jesus. Somewhere somebody decided that path was straight. But maybe for you it's not. Maybe for you it's winding, and it has rabbit trails that you had to go off on so you can find your way back. For some of us, our paths to following Jesus are filled with regrets of trying to make a go of it on our own. And we failed. Maybe we even failed really hard. For others of us, we've tried so hard to do everything right, to follow all the rules, to do all the things we're supposed to do, to live up to the standards that we thought we had to meet. We kept the rules, we put in the hours, we did the hard work, but ultimately we ended up bitter and angry about it. Because all of that work never kept us close to the source of our life. It slowly leached it away till we felt guilty. Ultimately, if we never get past the guilt of what our past was, or if we never let go of the need to prove ourselves, then we're gonna miss out on the party. We're gonna miss out on this one wild and precious life that we have. So may your crooked paths or your well-worked trails lead you to the party. For friends, I must say this to you over and over again, but nothing, hear me, nothing can ever separate you from the love of God. So may you be truly found this Lent. And may we stand ready as a community to party with you. For this is the way. May we have the strength to follow it. Amen.
Blessed are those who are weary. Blessed are those who are weak. Blessed are you when you're so overwhelmed that it's all you can do just to speak. Blessed are those who are anxious. Blessed the heart that's depressed. Blessed are those who are stuck in a rut. Someday they themselves will be our Mother, the earth, who has given us all that we need. Blessed are those who are hungry. Blessed are those who have thirst. Blessed are you when you've been made a fool, for surely you've been through the worst. Blessed are those with their back to the wall, those with the need to control. Blessed are those who let go of it all just to find it all well in their soul. Freely we have been given, freely we have received. We thank the Lord for our Mother, the earth, who has given us all that we need. Blessed are those who are raging. Blessed are those who are numb. Blessed are those who are waging a war, who have faith and relief yet to come. Blessed are those who are grieving. Blessed are those with regret. Sacred is life when we share it together. Your place at the table is set. Sacred is life when we share it together. Your place at the table is set. Freely we have been given, freely we will receive. We thank the Lord for our Mother, the earth, who has given us all that we need. Freely we have been given, freely we have received. We thank the Lord for our Mother, the earth, who has given us all that we need. We thank the Lord for our Mother, the earth, who has given us all that we need.